It's time for America Outdoors Radio, the show that covers the outdoor scene across the U.S. of A. and the entire continent. Fishing, hunting, conservation, outdoor recreation, and great destinations. We cover it all every week. It's your country, your outdoors. Let's explore it together with your host, John Kruse.
Welcome aboard. Let's talk ICAST. There were some clear winners at ICAST this month in Orlando, Florida, when it came to winning the best of show categories. And I'm not talking one-offs here. I'm talking about double and triple crown winners. ICAST, in case you didn't know, is the world's largest fishing trade show, which attracts hundreds of manufacturers and thousands of folks in the fishing industry, like buyers and media members. And those two groups all want to see what's new, and they get to vote on the best new items when it comes to fishing-related products for the current year. One big winner was Live Target, which won Best of Show for the best saltwater soft lure, freshwater salt lure, and saltwater hard lure with their slow roll shiner, erratic shiner, and flutter sardine lures. AFCO took home a couple of Best of awards in the apparel category with their new Overboard submersible shorts and Uri Aero Mesh performance shirt. On the electronic side of the house, Humminbird had the best ice fishing item with their new Ice Helix 7 Chirp GPS and the best electronics product with their Humminbird Mega 360 imaging. Another winner, Simms, based out of Bozeman, Montana. This fly fishing company won the best technical apparel for cold weather with their GFC stocking foot wader and the best fly fishing accessory with their Simms Dry Creek Z Slink Pack. Shimano beat out the other fishing reel manufacturers, winning Best Freshwater Reel with their SLX DC bait casting reel and the Best Saltwater Reel award with their Stratic FL spinning reel. Last, and certainly not least, when it comes to multi-award-winning companies, is St. Croix Rods. Based out of Wisconsin, they won the Best of Show awards for the best freshwater rod, saltwater rod, and fly rod. Now that's cleaning house. If you are curious as to which rods won those awards, you'll want to listen to our chat with Jesse Simpkins with St. Croix Rods during this program. He'll tell you not only what the winning rods are, but the interesting stories behind their development. And just as important, when you can get your hands on one of these rods. What else have we got for you this week? How about a conversation with an angler who's been fishing a whole lot of different places this summer for kokanee salmon and feisty trout? The man in question, Bob Loomis. He's with Mack's Lure Company, and he'll tell you where he's been dropping a line in just a minute. In addition to this, we'll get a chance to chat with Phil Bourjailey, the shotgun editor for Field & Stream magazine. As you know, we've talked a bit over the last few months about getting ready for bird hunting this season, and with that topic firmly in mind, Phil's going to join us to share highlights of an article he wrote for the latest Ducks Unlimited newsletter featuring 20 tips to help you improve your shooting during the off-season. We won't be able to get to all 20, but we're definitely going to share some good ones that'll help you out. One other topic we'll be covering are your public lands, the ones you and I love to hunt and fish on. As you may recall, we spoke with Joel Webster with the Theodore Roosevelt Conservation Partnership about this a couple of weeks ago, and one state that came up in particular was Colorado, where hunting is not allowed on many of their state-owned lands. I'm happy to report that this is changing with 100,000 new acres being opened up this fall for hunting and several 100,000 more acres of public land opening up in the near future for hunters. Travis Duncan with Colorado Parks and Wildlife will join us to tell you more about this, and after he does, you may well be planning a hunting trip to the Centennial State. Before we talk about hunting opportunities, though, let's chat about some places to go fishing this summer. Our first guest this week is Bob Loomis. He is the sales director and marketing manager for Mack's Lure based in Wenatchee, Washington. And Bob, you've been doing quite a bit of fishing this summer.
Yes, I have.
You know, usually we have these what did you do this summer conversations after the summer's over, but you've been so busy, I wanted to have this one with you now because you've been in one province in 2 states already this summer. Let's start off in the state of Idaho, where you were fishing, well, what's become one of the better-known kokanee destinations there. Why don't you tell our listeners a little bit about Anderson Ranch Reservoir?
that reservoir, we went and fished it for a few days, and of course, it's like anything else this year. It's been kind of a hit and miss because of the weather that we've had. We actually had a really nasty cell go through, and the barometer dropped off the map, and the fishing was marginal, but we did really well. I mean, we caught some fish that were 17, 18, 19-inch, real fat kokanee that were just phenomenal fish.
And folks, if you're not familiar with what a kokanee is, and I understand that, if you're listening down in the southeast or the Midwest, they're landlocked sockeye salmon. And a lot of folks will tell you when it comes to a red meat fish, they're probably the tastiest freshwater fish that you can catch. And a 17-inch kokanee is a huge kokanee. So that's a great fishery there. I understand you can't do anything about the weather, but in our home state of Washington, pretty close to home for you, Lake Chelan, I understand you had a great outing for kokanee that lasted several days.
Yeah, it was fantastic fishing on Lake Chelan. Everything from the trolling early in the morning, go in, have breakfast, come back out, go fish a little bit more, and fish for the cutthroat and rainbow. The fishing was just fantastic this year on Lake Chelan.
How many fish over like a 3-day period did you personally catch?
Well over a couple hundred.
Oh my gosh. And this was a mix of cutthroats like in that 12 to 14 inch range and kokanee around 11 inches long?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Large rainbows, up to 18, 19 inches. And all of this is on virtually all of our products, trolling with no bait, no nothing, as far as the double whammy kokanee pros, double D Dodgers, sling blades, coconuts, all sorts of different types of products.
Fantastic. Now, one more destination we need to talk about. North of the border, British Columbia. You were up there fishing too, and just like you were at Anderson Ranch Reservoir, you were filming an episode of the Northwest Outdoorsman television show with Richie Herod. Tell us about what lake you were at and what you were fishing for there.
Well, we went up to 100 Mile, BC. We've actually fished the area and fished a number of the other lakes over the years. And, the fishing's just tremendous up there because that whole Caribou area is fantastic because of the fact that the province has planted everything with kokanee as well as triploided kokanee as well as large rainbows. They have some really, really good programs. Anyhow, we went up there really looking to shoot a really good video on catching large rainbow. Well, when we got there, we're fishing a lake called Ruth Lake. We thought we were going to be shooting a rainbow video, and it turned into catching large 2.5 to 3 pound kokanee.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
Oh, they were
Those
nice.
are incredible kokanee.
Oh, they were fantastic. Just beautiful, beautiful fish.
All right. Well, there you go, folks. If you're looking for some places to go this summer for kokanee and trout, consider Anderson Ranch Reservoir in Idaho, Lake Chelan in central Washington, or Ruth Lake in British Columbia. All three, as you just heard, are some good ones to go to. If you're looking for products to use, go to maxlure.com or look for Max Lure products in sporting goods stores near you, and look for episodes about a couple of these destinations on the Northwest Outdoorsman, produced by Richie Herod. Thanks, Bob.
Thank you, John.
There's a place where the fishing is year-round, where the sun shines 300 days a year. The wineries and breweries are right downtown. The hiking and cycling offer spectacular views you just don't get in the big cities. Fortunately, the place is real and vibrant. It's the Dalles, Oregon, just 90 short minutes from Portland, along the gorgeous Columbia River, where the adventures are limited only by your imagination. Find out more at explorethedalles.com.
We've been telling you about Sportsman's Cove Lodge in Southeast Alaska for a while now, and there's a reason. They are the only Alaska lodge we talk about in this show. It's because They're truly Alaska's best lodge. The adventure starts with a float plane ride from Ketchikan, after which you'll get the chance to experience some of the best hospitality, food, and wonderful people you'll ever meet. Wildlife is abundant, from bears and deer to eagles and whales, and let's not forget the reason you're here, the fishing. Halibut, salmon, lingcod, rockfish, true cod, and more. It's all waiting for you in abundance at Sportsman's Cove Lodge. Book your trip today at alaskasbestlodge.com. That's alaskasbestlodge.com for Sportsman's Cove Lodge.
Looking to reel in the marketing opportunity of a lifetime? Then set the hook, because we've got it right here. America Outdoors Radio has sponsorships available, and we offer an affordable platform to reach thousands of listeners interested in fishing, hunting, and the outdoors. Find out more by contacting host John Kruse through his website at AmericanOutdoorsRadio.com. That's AmericaOutdoorsRadio.com. But hurry, if you wait too long, this big opportunity might just get away. That's AmericaOutdoorsRadio.com.
NorthwestFishingReports.com is the Northwest's largest fishing reports website, featuring well over 50,000 fishing reports, videos, articles, and more. All 100% free. Catch more fish with Northwest Fishing Reports. Log on today.
Hi, I'm Craig Boddington. I've written about hunting for 40 years, much of it in bear country. I trust my life to bear spray because the research is in. It stopped bears 92% of the time and prevented injury 98% of the time. Bear spray requires less accuracy and won't harm your companions or the bear. Carry bear spray in bear country. Keep it accessible and practice.
From well-known saltwater hotspots to hidden alpine lakes, learn the latest in tips, tackle, and techniques to help you catch more fish.
It's going to be a great show.
Northwest Fishing Reports, Saturdays at noon on Portland CW.
You're back in with America Outdoors Radio. I'm John Kruse, and now is the time to prepare for hunting season. If you're a duck hunter, it's a great time to prepare too. Whether you're going to be going after teal or going after mallards, now's the time to get shooting so you can hit them. That's why we've got Phil Bourjailey on the line. He is the shotgun field editor for Field and Stream, and he just wrote a great article in the latest Ducks Unlimited newsletter about 20 off-season shooting tips. Phil, great to have you back on the air.
Thank you. It's good to be here, and good that it's almost hunting season and we're talking about duck hunting again.
Absolutely. It's one of my favorite things to do, but I'm a person that's always in need of reviewing these tips, and I really appreciate the fact you had 20 of them for me to look at. And I think it's important for our listeners to know that a couple of the tips don't even involve shooting at a moving target, do they?
No, they don't. No, it's important to make sure that you're reacquainted with your gun every year.
And one of those has to do with the point of impact, and one of those has to do with basically testing the pattern, which has more to do with the ammo you use than anything else.
Well, your ammo and your choke both, but you need to make sure that whatever combination you're using is one that is both adequate for getting you clean kills on ducks and geese and also is one that's easy to hit with. Waterfowlers tend to obsess on tight patterns, but really when you do it right, your shots at ducks and geese come at 25 and 30. So what you want to see when you pattern test your gun is a pattern that is fairly broad. We test patterns on that 30-inch circle for a reason, and that's because that's about the maximum effective width of a pattern. But you want your pellets pretty well spread across that. All patterns will be denser in the center, but if you've got some in that outer fringe, it's going to make it an easier pattern to hit with. And I always tell people, forget about shooting 40 yards unless that's the distance you shoot your birds. If you shoot your birds at 25 and 30 yards, that's where you should pattern your gun.
And folks, definitely try different brands of ammo. I found this out a few years ago when I was shooting Federal shells and Winchester shells, and the pattern was completely different from both of them. I probably picked it up from an old article you wrote.
It could be. I've said a lot of things. As a rule of thumb, the bigger the shot and the slower the shot, the tighter your patterns will be. If you want to tighten them up, you want to go slower and or bigger. And if you want, it's more true of lead, but it's also true of steel shot. So, brand matters, but shot size, shot velocity, a lot of things matter, and then the components that they use are all a little bit different, so you will get different results. So it's important to know what your gun will do, not just so that you can hit the target, but you want to be able to make a clean kill as well.
Another tip that that really jumped out at me was learning to aim below the target. I'm guilty of doing anything but that. I try to swing right through the body itself. Why do you suggest aiming below the target?
If you keep the muzzle below the target, you don't block it out with the gun barrel. And as long as you can see the bird, your eyes and hands know where to put the gun. It's especially, if you're a right-handed shooter especially, one of the most mysterious misses in shotgun shooting. I'm left-handed, so for me it's a left to right. For right-handers, it's a right to left. But the shooting teachers call it the occluded target. And that bird comes in from your right side, which is the side the gun is on, so the gun is in the way. And if you let it get down behind that gun, where you can't see it, as soon as you can't see it anymore, your eyes go to your gun barrel. When your eyes go to your gun barrel, it stops. And you miss. It's almost always high and behind.
Well,
and keep that muzzle below the bird. You can see it. At the last second, you'll bring it up in front, so it is on the flight line. But keeping it below the target will let you see what you're shooting at.
Very interesting. Again, folks, we're talking to Phil Bourjailey. He is the shotgun field editor for Field & Stream and wrote a great article, 20 off-season shooting tips, in the latest newsletter for Ducks Unlimited. One of the other tips that you point out that really jumped out at me has to do with that bead at the end of your shotgun, either losing the bead, something I've done before, I've taken some advice and done that, or supersizing it.
Right. The bead is there not to be looked at. So the bead you want on the end of your gun is the one that's not going to distract you. The target is always your main focus, and the gun is there. You want to see that in your peripheral vision. So for some people, those big, bright fiber optic beads that you see on so many waterfowl guns work because it helps them be aware of where the gun barrel is without looking at it.
Right.
And you need a little bit of muzzle awareness, even though we all preach focus on the target. On the other hand, if that bead is drawing your eye off the target to the gun, nothing good happens. And that's when you might want to do without it. A lot of sporting clay shooters will take the beads off their guns and throw them away. So it's whichever one you can not look at. If it helps you to be able to have that blurry, bright green or orange bead in your peripheral vision, great, use it. If that's where your eyes wind up, then you want to get rid of it.
Of the 20 tips that you've got in there, which one do you think is the most important?
The most important one, especially, and I'm guilty of this. I've told you earlier when we were talking, I have a young German short-hair puppy that is taking up a lot of my time these days, and I have not been to the gun club very much. I've just been able to start getting out there again, and shooting is a perishable skill. I found that out. And when you start shooting again, the thing you have to relearn every time is to trust your eyes and hands and to be less mechanical. The more you are aiming and thinking, the worse you'll shoot. And so if you're, we're getting up, it's almost hunting season. If you're just starting to get out to the gun club now, what you want to really be focusing on more than anything else is trusting your eyes and hands, not trying to aim your gun, but just looking at the target and letting your natural eye-hand coordination make the shot, because our subconscious mind and our eye-hand coordination can make the shot so much better than we can if we try to overthink and steer. And when you're thinking is the enemy of good shooting. So to me, that is the single most important thing you can practice right before the season. If we're kind of past time to overhaul your shooting and learn a bunch of new things, but at this point in the summer. But what you do want to do is make sure that you are trusting your instincts, trusting your eye-hand coordination, and not and that will make the biggest difference when you get out into the field.
Phil, those are absolute truisms. I have two mottos, or two things I've noticed in the field. Number one, when I miss, I usually mutter to myself, don't think, just shoot. I do a lot better on quail that surprise me or teal that bomb in out of nowhere than I do on that mallard that's coming in from 200 yards out that I have all day to think about, and I guarantee you I miss that incoming mallard more often than not because I overthink the shot. So great advice there. I also love a couple of the other pieces of advice you have about go dove hunting and take a lesson. I think that's one that most of us never think of, is investing a little money in going to a pro and taking a lesson.
Golfers do it all the time. Shooters are doing it more and more. I've had a number of lessons over the years. I've learned from every one of them, and a lot of the people who teach these, although most of them are target shooters, most of them hunt too. And if you tell them that what you want to do, you're not interested in shooting clay targets, you want to learn how to hit more ducks and geese, they will know how, and they will teach you. The one thing I would say is, if you spend that money, invest that money in a lesson, you need to take that investment, make the most of it by going back and practicing what you've learned. If you just go take a lesson and then put your gun back up on the shelf and go fishing or golfing all summer, you won't get a whole lot out of it. You need to take what you learn, kind of synthesize it with how you already shoot, practice it until it becomes second nature, so that you're not thinking about it, and then it's a huge benefit. It's not a shortcut, but it will get you down the road a ways.
Well, we are going to have to leave it at that. But, folks, if you want to read about more off-season shooting tips, check out the latest Ducks Unlimited newsletter. You can find it at ducks.org. And be sure to catch Phil's column every edition of Field and Stream magazine. Lots of wisdom to be found there. Phil, thanks for sharing that wisdom with us today on America Outdoors Radio.
Thanks for having me, John.
Last year, you created 250,000 jobs. The year before, you added $150 billion to the U.S. economy. In fact, each year for the last 75, you stood up, dug deep, and moved forward. All so you could turn to the little one beside you and say with certainty, one day, all of this will be yours. Hunters, you are the best kept secret in conservation.
Welcome back to America Outdoors Radio. I'm John Kruse, and we've got some good news for you from the state of Colorado, where a whole lot of public land is opening up for you as hunters and anglers. We're talking about 100,000 acres this fall and close to 500,000 acres in the next few years. With us here to tell you more about it is Travis Duncan with Colorado Parks and Wildlife. Travis, welcome to the show. This is really exciting.
It is exciting. Yeah, we just opened up 100,000 acres, or will be here this fall, which is going to take our public access program from about 480,000 acres currently up to 585,000 acres by this fall. And then that's with the goal of over the next 2 years, each year increasing that by 200,000 acres each year, so that here in 3 years, thereabouts, we'll have about 1 million acres open for hunting in the public access program.
I absolutely love it. And these are all state-owned lands, aren't they?
That's right. So these are state-owned lands. So I probably could explain a bit about what trust lands are for those who don't know. Those have been held in a trust since Colorado statehood in 1876 for the purpose of funding public schools. So these lands are leased by the state for various purposes. State Land Board earns money for schools from trust lands by leasing those lands for a variety of purposes, one of those including hunting and recreation. So those trust land leases have earned $1.4 billion for Colorado public schools in the past decade. So it's a good program. And so this new lease, we currently, through our public access program, we have 480,000 acres. We've identified a variety of parcels, a lot in the Eastern Plains region of Colorado. That's going to be 100,000 new acres added to that total here this year.
You know, I was stationed in Colorado Springs for a couple of years when I was in the Army, and I know most people, when they think of Colorado, they think of going west and northwest in the state for big game hunting opportunities, whether it be for deer, whether it be especially for elk. But the plains of eastern Colorado, they're absolutely beautiful, and there's quite a bit of wildlife out there. There's a lot of ducks, you get a lot of snow geese, there's certainly upland birds and small game too, like rabbits. So is this what we're looking at in terms of hunting opportunities in the eastern plains of Colorado in the years ahead?
Yeah, you really kind of nailed it, John. The primary habitat types out there will be shortgrass prairie and shrubland. So there's going to be increased opportunity for things like dove and quail hunting. We're going to have other kinds of small game hunting like cottontail rabbits, jackrabbits, coyotes, fox, and maybe some other fur-bearing species. So depending on the habitat type or the parcel we have identified, there's going to be a lot more opportunities out there for this kind of small game hunting, as well as lots of waterfowl, ducks, and geese on the small bodies of water out there. So, yeah, exciting stuff coming this August.
So I've got a question for you, Travis. Again, these are state-owned lands, and I understand they're not Colorado parks and wildlife lands that are used for outdoor recreation, but why haven't they been open to public access in the past? Why are these lands just becoming open now?
It's because they're state trust lands, and as I was speaking about there, in order to hunt and fish on those lands, they would need to be, acquired through a lease through Colorado Parks and Wildlife. Same with any other kinds of use, that might need to occur on those lands. So we had a lease for 480,000 acres, and we're adding to that now to bring it up 100,000 acres this year to 585,000 acres. And that's part of a movement both by our agency internally and from the governor. Governor Jared Polis has said he wants to see more access for Coloradans to the outdoors and for outdoor recreation activities. And for internally, we just recently passed the Hunting, Fishing, and Parks for Future Generations Act. And part of the charge of passing that is that we're, over the next 10 years going to open up more recreational opportunities for the public. And so this kind of meets the bill for both of those things. And so it's a great way to get more folks out in the outdoors. It's a great way to promote, the hunting and fishing lifestyle. The revenue to pay for these lands comes from those hunting and fishing licenses. So it really pays it back into the program to get folks outside enjoying Colorado outdoors and hunting and fishing.
Well, I've lived in a lot of places over my 50-plus years, and I can tell you I don't think I've lived anywhere where people love the outdoors as much as Colorado. So this is wonderful, but I also see this improved public access bringing in a lot of people from out of state who are going to be really interested in these new opportunities. There's a lot of bird hunters out there, both upland bird hunters and waterfowl hunters, small game hunters, that I'm sure will be coming to Colorado for this. Getting back to the mechanics of this, I'm not the sharpest tool in the shed. Anybody who listens to this show knows that. Is Colorado Parks and Wildlife essentially using their dollars, and in this case, hunter and angler license fees, to lease the land from another state agency like the Department of Natural Resources? Is that how this is working for these leases to occur?
Right, we're leasing them through the state land board. So, yeah, that's what those state trust lands are. But yes, essentially. And to be honest, that's how a lot of our lands work. A lot of our state parks are not necessarily owned by Colorado Parks and Wildlife. There's actually some kind of lease agreement in place to where we're leasing that land to have it open for outdoor recreation opportunities.
Well, again, the fact that we're going from 480,000 acres of state-owned land. So, folks, this doesn't even include the national forests that you can hunt in. This doesn't include the national parks that you can fish and recreate in. We're just talking state lands here, going from basically a little under 500,000 to nearly 1 million in the next couple of years. Really exciting opportunity. I know people are going to want to start planning trips to Colorado to check out these opportunities and start making plans to hunt both this fall and in the future. Is there a reference point we can give them in terms of a website or something like that?
Definitely. So definitely encourage anyone hoping to come hunting in Colorado to check out Colorado Parks and Wildlife's Hunting Atlas. Find that on our website, cpw.state.co.us. But check out our Hunting Atlas, just in terms of hunting in Colorado in general, just to get a sense of what you'll be dealing with, where you'll be headed, just to get that basic information. It's a great place to start. But you can also get on there and see what lands are accessible through our public access program. And here in August, we'll have that, those 100,000 acres we're opening up mostly in the southeast region available to view through there as well.
All right. So in just a few days, maybe a couple weeks, you'll be able to check out these new opportunities, basically east of Interstate 25, those eastern plains of Colorado. One other question. We've been really focusing on hunting here, but I'm quite certain anglers are going to benefit from some of this public access too. Are there any places in particular that you're kind of excited about where anglers are going to be able to catch either warm water species or trout?
I know that we're going to have increased opportunities there, although the information I have mostly about those small bodies of water, right now concerns duck and geese hunting, but you can be sure that there's going to be some really good fishing opportunities out there as well. So we're excited to make that announcement here in a few weeks.
And I guess one more question I have, when it comes to planning a trip, a lot of these places are not going to have developed campgrounds. What are the rules when it comes to pitching a tent or staying overnight on these state trust lands if you do want to hunt and fish?
Well, I'd encourage anyone coming to Colorado to definitely call into our hunt planner line. You can find that, on CPW's website. But call in and talk to somebody. Tell them exactly what you're going to be doing, whether it's waterfowl hunting, whether it's turkey hunting, and tell them, where they'll be going. Check out our rec lands brochure, recreational lands brochure. That's going to, if you're coming into the public access program, that's going to be kind of your go-to brochure. So that's on our website, recreational lands brochure. And then if you have any more questions, I definitely encourage calling into our hunt planner. Those folks guide people in this all day, coming from out of state, want to know exactly what the rules are for the exact area they'll be in. And so, it's going to differ depending on what piece of land you're on, whether, you're using one of this new public access program open lands or a state wildlife area, or just depending on where you're going. So check out the rec lands brochure, check out the hunting brochures, and call our hunt planner, and they can guide you through that process.
All right, as you just heard, folks, there's about 100,000 reasons or acres to visit in Colorado this fall, and that's actually going to turn from 480,000 to nearly 1 million acres of new public land that you can hunt on, and in some cases fish on too, in the years ahead. So check out the opportunities through Colorado Parks and Wildlife. Check out that Colorado Parks and Wildlife hunting access. Get those rec brochures and make plans to head to the Centennial State. I think you're going to enjoy this new opportunity. Travis, thanks for sharing this with us today on America Outdoors Radio.
Definitely. Thanks for having me, John.
So you sit down and do your budget, and you look at all your monthly costs and your bills and your income, and it seems like there's never quite enough. You know what would really help? Finding $500 a month to help balance things out. That is the typical savings, $500 a month for a family when you switch to MediShare for your health care. And when it comes to healthcare sharing ministries, MediShare is really the gold standard. It's been around for 25 years and has more than 400,000 members. It's been around so long and grown so much because it works. And whether you're single or married or have kids, this could make sitting down to do a monthly budget a lot more fun. $500 a month can more than cover a car payment or pay back loans, whatever. So join MediShare and go out to dinner to celebrate. Here's the number to call. They are incredibly kind and helpful to talk to. 855-90-BIBLE. That's 855-90-BIBLE. 855-90-BIBLE.
There's a place where the fishing is year-round, where the sun shines 300 days a year. The wineries and breweries are right downtown. The hiking and cycling offers spectacular views you just don't get in the big cities. Fortunately, the place is real and vibrant. It's the Dalles, Oregon, just 90 short minutes from Portland, along the gorgeous Columbia River, where the adventures are limited only by your imagination. Find out more at explorethedalles.com.
Why book at Sportsman's Cove Lodge?
Why is Alaska like no other place on Earth? It hasn't changed in thousands of years.
From the way you get here on a float plane to the way you go out with the guides and the boats, it's just a professional experience.
And I said, this is as good as it gets. I said, if you can't catch fish here, you can't catch fish anywhere.
Your experience with us will leave you speechless.
Book now at alaskasbestlodge.com.
Are you looking to reel in the marketing opportunity of a lifetime? Then set the hook, because we've got it right here for you. America Outdoors Radio has sponsorships available, and we offer affordable platforms to reach thousands of listeners interested in fishing, hunting, and the outdoors. Find out more by contacting John Kruse through his website at AmericaOutdoorsRadio.com. That's AmericaOutdoorsRadio.com. Hurry, though. If you wait too long, the big opportunity might just get away. AmericaOutdoorsRadio.com.
Backcountry Hunters and Anglers, a nationwide group working to keep public lands in public hands. We've helped ban the use of drones for hunting. We help repair wildlife corridors in key riparian areas. We speak up against illegal ATV use. We collaborate with elected leaders to keep public lands in public hands. We're Backcountry Hunters and Anglers, with membership in all 50 states and Canada. Please join this dynamic conservation group. Check us out at backcountryhunters.org.
Next on America Outdoors Radio, when you think of Wisconsin, you probably think of a couple things. You probably think of the Green Bay Packers, a team a lot of folks love to root for. You probably think of cheese. Everyone seems to think of cheese when they think of Wisconsin. But you know what? You ought to think about top quality fishing rods too, because there's a Wisconsin-based company called St. Croix Rods that just won the Triple Crown. They won 3 Best of Show categories for their fishing rods at ICAST that just took place in Florida this month. With us here to tell you more about these award-winning rods that you have got to have is Jesse Simpkins, the Director of Marketing for St. Croix Rods. Jesse, congratulations.
Well, thank you very much. You know, it's kind of humbling, but it's a result of everything that we do to make anglers best on the water. I mean, that's why we have a passion for rod building, and this is just a result of that, but it was very, very humbling.
I'll tell you what, if you didn't break out the champagne after this, I don't know when you ever will, because there's a lot of good rod manufacturers in the United States and worldwide, and the fact that you took home Best of Show for 3 different categories is absolutely amazing. So let's run through the 3 rods. Let's start off with the best saltwater rod. What was it, and how did you get to the top?
Well, it was our Avid Surf rod, our series, and little known fact that, you know, St. Croix Rod, even though we're located in the heart of northern Wisconsin, is the leader in surf rods. That happened long before I got here, so I'm not quite sure how that happened.
I was going to ask.
But, you know, it's something that, you know, there's a lot of technical precision that goes into building these rods. They have to withstand incredible load, right, to cast the baits out as far as they have to cast them. They have to be super sensitive so that you can feel what you're going over and when the bite happens. And they have to be durable. And you know, the Avid series has been the workhorse of our surf rods for years. And this year, we took them and improved them. We changed the material makeup. We changed the way that we manage the components and the way that we balance it. And it turned out to be a remarkable improvement for this series.
That's not the only saltwater rod that won an award. You also won the best fly fishing rod with your Imperial Salt. I'm guessing it shares some of the same durable, long-casting characteristics as your surf rod.
It does. Imperial Salt fly was just an amazing collaboration between our team that's out in the field, our fly team, and our engineers. We improved. First of all, we just introduced this line. We didn't have an Imperial saltwater line before, and we took all of the data that we're getting from the field, and our engineers took that back, and it really took 3 iterations of this rod to get it right. We built it based on the initial information, got feedback, made the changes, got feedback again, and made the changes. And we're changing guide placement to the way the handle is constructed. That's the type of feedback we are getting from our field, and that's because we want to live up to our name, Best Rods on Earth, and we will not put out anything that doesn't live up to that particular moniker.
Jesse, I want to make sure I understood this right. This is the first saltwater fly rod that St. Croix ever come out with, and it won the Best of Show category at ICAST?
Well, it's the first in the Imperial line.
Okay.
We had some saltwater rods previously, but in the Imperial, our Imperial line has been really a freshwater line for years. I mean, the Imperial has been part of St. Croix since the 50s.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
This is the first time we had a saltwater rod in that line.
Okay. Well, there's one other rod we got to talk about. There's a lot of bass anglers listening to this show, and this one's kind of a mouthful. It's the Mojo Bass Glass Rip and Chatter. Tell our listeners about this rod that won the best freshwater rod category.
Yeah, we're really proud of this particular one because We had introduced glass rods about 3 years ago. And glass rods, people remember from the early 70s, and they were heavy and they were kind of buggy whips. Well, we use a linear S-glass, which is super lightweight and allows us to have a tubular glass rod. Super lightweight, super sensitive. And we decided that we wanted to make this more accessible to our anglers. We introduced it first in our Legend series, but the Mojo Bass line is a little bit more accessible. And we took those designs and, I will say, augmented them to be able to fit within the price point that Mojo Bass is. And it was remarkable. They are so good at what they do. And the Rip and Chatter rod, right? I mean, how many times have you heard people talk about throwing chatterbaits now? I mean, a chatterbait 8 years ago, you really didn't talk about it. Now, all of a sudden, I mean, they're winning everything. Plus, there's techniques, especially in some of the reservoir lakes in Alabama, like Gunnersville or Chickamauga, or those that you're ripping crankbaits out of the vegetation. And we needed a glass rod that could do that and manage chatterbaits. And I'm telling you, these guys, our engineers and our manufacturing team hit an absolute home run with this. We sent it out to a half a dozen people to test. One of the guys came back and said, if you change this, I'm leaving your team. It was unbelievable. And we put it through its paces. We wanted it to perform the way that we expected, and it does. And all for price points in that $140 to $160 range, which is just outstanding for the level of rod that you're getting.
I agree. That might sound a little expensive to some of our folks, but folks, we're talking the best rods recognized at ICAST from a whole lot of rod manufacturers, many rods costing a heck of a lot more than this. The rods, again, best saltwater rod, the Avid Surf Rod. Best freshwater rod, the Mojo Bass Glass Rip and Chatter. And the best fly fishing rod from St. Croix is the Imperial Salt. Last question for you, Jesse. When can anglers get their hands on these award-winning rods?
Well, these will be at retail starting August 1st, so right around the corner. Please look for them. Everything that we do here at St. Croix is to provide a better experience for anglers on the water. And remember, many of these series are built right here in Park Falls, Wisconsin, or in our other facility. We own all of the manufacturing that we do here. It's all vertically integrated, and that's why we know that we can provide quality on a consistent basis.
There you go, folks. Now you know something else about Wisconsin. They just happen to build some of the best fishing rods in the world. Jesse, thanks for sharing this with us today on America Outdoors Radio.
Thank you very much.
I hope you've enjoyed our program today. If by chance you didn't catch all of it, you'll be able to in the next couple of days as a podcast. And 2 places you can go to hear it include our Facebook page at America Outdoors Radio, which, by the way, I'd invite you to like and follow. And you can also hear this show on the front page of our website at americaoutdoorsradio.com. That website not only has our podcast, but it also has previews of upcoming guests and links to the sponsors that allow us to bring you this program every week. By the way, if you are involved in the fishing, hunting, or outdoors or conservation industry, and you're looking for a platform to promote your business or organization, we should really talk. I think you'll find that with 74 stations in 51 different markets around the nation, we can really help you with that. And better still, we can do it for a very, very affordable price. If you want to find out more, just shoot me an email at info@americaoutdoorsradio.com. That's right. Just go to our website, americaoutdoorsradio.com. Shoot me an email through the website, and let's start a conversation. We're approaching the midway point of summer, and I hope it's been a good one for you. If you haven't made any great summer memories yet in the great outdoors or on the water, you've still got time to do so, but don't dally. Summer has a habit of slipping away if you let it do so. Here's hoping you're blessed in the days ahead, and here's hoping you'll make the most of your summer this year. After all, it is your country and your outdoors, so get out there and enjoy it. We've been telling you about Sportsman's Cove Lodge in Southeast Alaska for a while now, and there's a reason. They are the only Alaska lodge we talk about in this show. It's because they're truly Alaska's best lodge. The adventure starts with a float plane ride from Ketchikan, after which you'll get the chance to experience some of the best hospitality, food, and wonderful people you'll ever meet. Wildlife is abundant, from bears and deer to eagles and whales, and let's not forget the reason you're here, the fishing. Halibut, salmon, lingcod, rockfish, true cod, and more. It's all waiting for you in abundance at Sportsman's Cove Lodge. Book your trip today at alaskasbestlodge.com. That's alaskasbestlodge.com for Sportsman's Cove Lodge.
There's a place where the fishing is year-round, where the sun shines 300 days a year. The wineries and breweries are right downtown. The hiking and cycling offer spectacular views you just don't get in the big cities. Fortunately, the place is real and vibrant. It's the Dalles, Oregon, just 90 short minutes from Portland, along the gorgeous Columbia River, where the adventures are limited only by your imagination. Find out more at explorethedalles.com.